Welcome to episode 10, the final episode of the Morpheus podcast. Our name change is being completed as we speak. Starting for our next podcast, we will be utilizing our new name, which is Better Off. We're going to post that, and you can see the spelling, and it's all cool, and we're going to put up stuff with our Twitter handle, and now we won't have to explain to anyone what the hell Morpheus means anymore. Back with us today, Intern Joe. Intern Joe, welcome back to the show.
Hello.
And so we've got some football to talk about. So we've got the divisional round from last week and the upcoming conference championship games of this week. Let's start off with Ravens Bills. So Bills win and cover. They were -3 at home. They won 17-3. Bob, who was on our last episode, Prop Holiday, his pick for this was Cole Beasley over 4.5 receptions. That was at +120 on FanDuel. Cole Beasley came up with the big fat 0. And Wes Welker, Wayne Corbett, Danny Amendola, and Julian Edelman all cried somewhere in a small white wide receiver treehouse like in the Simpsons. I got this one right. Harry got this one right. Harry, what did you think of the game? How did Josh Allen look? How did the Ravens look? Was this a Bills win? Was this a Ravens loss? What are we looking at here?
Well, I think Josh had another good game. It wasn't his best, but I think the big story of it was the Bills defense kind of getting that comeback game after an iffy one against the Colts. You could say Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals, I think, but that's still only 9 points against a high-flying Ravens offense. I think they did a pretty good job.
Field goal, 6 points.
Yeah, but they had 3. I'm saying they would have been at total 9.
I mean, has Justin Tucker ever missed 2 field goals in his life?
He definitely hasn't under 50 yards in the playoffs. I know that for sure.
I thought Justin Tucker we did a whole thing about Justin Tucker going to the Hall of Fame. But anyway, go on.
I just think that the Bills kind of found their form again defensively, and it's just in time because we'll get into it later, but they have a tough road ahead of them this weekend. Joe, what'd you think about this game?
Also, I did have the Bills. I think I actually got them at -2.5, but still, it was a good win for the Bills. I actually also had Cole Beasley over 3.5 receptions because I was just like, oh, if this guy thinks he's going to go over 4.5, 3.5 has to be even better. He still got 0. But no, I don't know. It wasn't that inspiring of a game from the Bills. Like, their defense did play well. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't give me any more confidence against the Chiefs or going forward against the Packers or Bucks.
Yeah, it was an interesting game. It was not the exciting, high-flying, both quarterbacks throw for 350 yards and rush for 100 that we were hoping for. I do come out of it a little bit worried on the Josh Allen front, but as we will talk about I guess we'll talk about Browns Chiefs next. The Chiefs have not, and we've talked about this, how the Chiefs have had big spreads and sort of eked their way through. They managed to not cover yet another spread. So let's go to that. Browns Chiefs. It was -10. It moved to -8. Chiefs end up winning by 5.
It seems like people are catching on for what we've been saying. I'm not saying we're leading the public, but we sure are helping. But
we are on the bleeding edge of the Mahomes, the Mahomes overspread. I mean, Harry, let's first talk about this game. So Bob's pick was Nick Chubb over 86.5 yards total rushing and receiving, which I thought was a lock. He lost that at 73. What do you take from this? What do you take from this if you are a Browns fan, if you're a Baker Mayfield fan? Where do you stand right now?
as a Baker fan, I'm really happy. He did really well with what he had. But also as a Browns fan, I'm wondering what Baker did to the defense for them to put up such an uninspired performance. It was they no help from Baker, none at all. The guy did everything he could. It the Browns defense
Is
lets a
it?
backup quarterback rush for 14 yards on third down. Like
Yep.
it just baffles me. I don't understand. Did Baker sleep with someone's wife? Did he not go to a wedding? Did he get someone's kid a bad birthday present?
Let's remember, all right, Patrick Mahomes' backup is Chad Henne, all right, 13-year NFL veteran. This is not some kid coming off the bench. This is not a guy who's held a clipboard his entire career. Chad Henne's played some football and looked pretty darn comfortable coming in there. He wasn't going in there slinging the ball around. This wasn't Tom Brady coming in for Bledsoe or Rodgers coming in for Favre. It wasn't Young coming in for Montana, but he ran the offense. And, at that point, it's tough for the defense because they've game planned as much as you can for Patrick Mahomes. And Chad Henne is obviously a very different quarterback, although what he did on that 14-yard first down run, that's what Patrick Mahomes does, right? Patrick Mahomes, I think, led the NFL this year in third down conversions as a running quarterback. But yeah, look, this is a professional defense. It's the Browns' job to take advantage of that and to adapt, and they didn't. Jose, thoughts on this one?
Well, I mean, I would agree more with Harry in the first half that the Browns defense did nothing. They still held them to 22 points. Like, holding Mahomes to 22 points is pretty solid. And I know Chad Henne played the last little bit, but okay, so they still held Mahomes for most of the game to 22. I mean, I'd be okay with that as a Browns fan. Baker didn't look bad. I'm not blaming this loss on Baker at all. I think the Chiefs were just a better team. Now, I don't know. The last two plays, so the 14-yard run set up the 4th and 1. That's just pitiful because I watched Chad Henne for, I don't know, what was it, 3 years in Miami? Be terrible. Like, he looked fine running the offense because, like you said, he's a 13-year veteran, but he should not be able to run against you. Chad Henne's not a mobile quarterback. You should not ever give up more than a 5-yard scramble to Chad Henne.
I mean, the argument there is that's why they lost contain, right? I mean, who better to sneak the ball on the naked bootleg than the slowest guy on the planet, right? That you can't do it twice, but if you do, I mean, look, it wasn't the designed play, right? But I agree, 22 points against the Chiefs is pretty darn good. I say applause to Chad Henne. What I really like is the out route that he threw for the first down to end the game.
Yes, that was good.
What this demonstrates to me, though, this bothers me about the press and the media. So he completes the pass and ends the game. And everyone says, the announcer was like, they're not going to run a play. And if they run a play, whatever. He throws the ball, right? Backup quarterback, hasn't thrown the ball. He throws it when, if it's incomplete, it stops the clock.
It would have stopped the clock if they didn't get the first down anyway.
It completes. Well, not if you run it.
Yeah, because it was 4th down. Clock stops if they don't get the first down. I'm saying.
Yeah, right. But then it starts winding again on the turn when the ball is placed.
It does? I thought it just stops.
I thought in college it stops. Either way, it's a risky play, and because it worked, only Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a genius. Who else? But we know what those guys would have said if that ball hadn't have been completed. What is Andy Reid thinking? How can you do that? How does a coach like him not know better? And it just pisses me off because you can't judge decisions like that solely based on the outcome, because it's about what happens next time. It was either a brilliant, sneaky play or it was a ridiculous play, and the way it ended up is just about stats, right? Whether it would have happened 80% of the time or not. it's so easy to call someone a genius when they take a risk and it works out. But when it doesn't work out, why can't you still call them a genius who took a good risk? Because if it hadn't happened and the Browns come down and score and win, Andy Reid would be getting roasted all over the place the same way Pete Carroll was roasted for not handing it off to Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Yeah. I mean, I saw this, I forget who it was that posted it, but the Chiefs have run, I know Mahomes was in for these plays, but the Chiefs have run this exact same play on 4th down like 5 times this season. They run a 2-yard out route with one of their guys that's faster than the defensive back. So the fact that everyone was like, there's no way they run a play. I know Romo was saying it like the entire time. He said it like 8 times during the call. I was like, there's no way they run a play. They've ran this play like consistently. The fact that the Browns weren't ready for this exact play, because again, there is even film on it where the Chiefs run an out route with Hill and like some of their other receivers just to get that first down. Like that one, I would be upset as a Browns fan watching that because you can go back and see the Chiefs have done this and there's a pattern of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. But you know what? Overall, Browns fans are discussing a loss in the divisional playoff round. So
I don't think so. But there is one more part I want to talk about in this game, the end of the second half, or the first half, end of the second quarter. The Browns fumble it into the end zone on a bad hit that probably should have been called. Can someone explain this rule to me? That it's a turnover?
Okay.
Why doesn't it just get placed?
Explanation?
I think it should be placed at the 20-25 and the Browns keep it.
Okay, I mean, if you want an actual explanation, because every single rule favors the offense. Every single one. This is the only rule that I know of in the playbook that favors the defense. As soon as you cross the plane with the football, play's dead, it's a touchdown. It doesn't matter what happens. You don't need to have a football move in the end zone. You can extend and reach.
You don't need to complete it can cross the line, and as long as it's in your possession when it breaks the plane, it can slip out of your hands and fall into the safety's hands, and he can run it back, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, this is the only rule in the playbook that favors the defense, is fumbling it out of the end zone for turnover for the defense. Like, I don't know. I don't have as big of an issue as apparently every single other person in the world does with this rule.
Yeah, I also don't.
I think there are plenty of other rules that could be modified to lean more towards the defense than this rule. I just don't get it.
But they never will.
So if they fumble it out of bounds at the 1-yard line, the Browns keep the ball.
Yeah.
But the minute it's the other side of the pylon, it's the.
But the end zone doesn't
Chiefs'
make any
loss.
sense. Okay, it's the same thing. You fumble it at the 1. The defense picks up the ball. It's the defense's ball. You fumble it in the end zone after extending your arm. It's a touchdown.
Right. You got to think about the goal line the same as the end line, right?
Yeah.
If you fumble it out of bounds and the defense picks up the ball out of bounds, it doesn't matter. The end zone is just out of bounds, but good. They both end the play, but one of them ends the play with points and one of them just ends the play.
I don't understand it. I still made money off the Browns, but I wanted the Browns to win because I wanted the AFC Championship in Buffalo. It's a much better atmosphere than Arrowhead.
I don't know.
I think that they're actually very comparable. These are both blue-collar cities, that eat barbecue and wings and trans fats, and fans show up in 20-degree weather with nothing on, and I don't know. I think that KC and Buffalo have other than the fact that one has been winning the last 2 years, have very similar fan bases.
What are Kansas City fans called?
I get that. But
they don't
Chiefs
have a Bills Mafia equivalent. There's a reason the Bills have the Bills Mafia.
The Chiefs for a while had the loudest stadium. They overtook the Seahawks for a few years. You can't say
I'm not saying loudness.
But think about the Arrowhead, one of the few stadiums left that isn't a corporate. Even Cowboys Stadium turned into AT&T, which they said that Jerry Jones would never let it happen. Do the Bills Is the stadium named?
New Era went bankrupt, so no, I don't think so.
Okay, but like it's just
It was.
I don't know. I think that Kansas City is a serious blue collar, crazy fandom place, just like Buffalo. This isn't like they didn't play in Buffalo, now they're going to Vegas.
Yeah, they had it
it's
last
not-
year.
it's not
Give it
that
to the
bad.
Bills this year. That's all I want.
Hey,
All
Andy
right.
Reid's the only coach to bring 2 different teams to 3 straight home championship games.
Yep, and this time he even won one. All right, so moving on. Let's talk NFC. Rams Packers in what I really thought was going to be a boring game, and the score is boring. It was interesting for me to watch the Rams defense, led by a clearly injured Aaron Donald, try and match up and basically stay with the Packers until the end. What, Jose, what do you take? So the Packers win 32-18. They cover the 7-point spread. Bob, Prop Holiday, his pick was Cam Akers getting over 16 and a half rushing attempts. He got 18. I would have thought it would have been even more than that, but good pick by Prop Holiday. So Jose, what are your takeaways from this one?
So I took the Packers going into this game -7, but I was very scared because it seemed too easy to take an injured quarterback and an injured best player on the Aaron Donald was injured, Jared Goff was injured. It seemed too easy. And it was scaring me that the Packers never, like you said, pulled away in this game. It was still a pretty close game, but it was boring and there wasn't really much going on. Aaron Rodgers looked good. He probably had what'd you say, a B plus game for Aaron Rodgers standards.
I wouldn't say B plus. He did not throw the ball down the field. How many attempts of 20 yards or more did he have?
But that's what I mean. He didn't have to do anything. He just had to manage his game.
We did get to watch Jalen Ramsey, even though the prevailing opinion is that from football people that I know who know the game better than I do, that Jalen Ramsey didn't actually get burned, that they were playing the sort of zone coverage down there in the goal line where once that receiver came back across, it actually wasn't Jalen Ramsey who was supposed to be covering him anymore, which is why you saw Ramsey kind of throw a little fit. But it was fun to see Jalen Ramsey get a little pissed off.
I mean, it shows that he cares. I have a problem when people are chucking their helmet and stuff at people and doing stuff like that. But I like to see guys get mad at it. It shows you care. When he did the whole thing on how every single quarterback in the NFL is terrible and went through that list, that's just ridiculous. But when he's showing that he cares, whether he got burned or he's mad that his teammate didn't cover the guy, he's mad they gave up a touchdown. I like to see that from people.
Hashtag swearing is caring. Harry.
Swearing is caring.
Rams Packers. Talk to me.
I wasn't really impressed by Rodgers' performance. I think it's kind of like what you expect from Rodgers, but he's going to need a lot more this upcoming weekend if he's going to make it to the Super Bowl.
How much of that is Jalen Ramsey and the Rams defense, and how much of that is Aaron Rodgers? I mean, we'll talk about this, but how much of this is Rodgers and how much of this is just a really good Rams defense?
Well, first of all, Rodgers had 23 completions for 296 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not the dominant Rodgers I think everyone thought they were going to see come this game with the worn down Rams team. It's not the MVP caliber people have been used to for this season. And I think if that's what we see against a Rams defense, it's going to be scary when he goes up against a Bucs defense that's already shut him down once this year. Well,
look, we'll talk about that. A very different, that was Rodgers' worst game of the season. A Bucs front four and pass rush that is very good. A Bucs secondary that is, nah.
Right.
There is no Jalen Ramsey in Tampa Bay.
I was also going to say, though, like, he put up 32 points. Like, I know he necessarily didn't with the 2 touchdowns, but, like, his offense put up 32 points in the freezing cold against what would you say, top 5 defense? I know they were missing Aaron Donald, missing Aaron Donald for half the plays, but still, a top 5 defense, 32 points in the freezing cold. Now, you can say it was a home game for the Packers, sure, but just because it's your home doesn't make it easier to throw in 30-degree weather. Like,
it's true. Well, look, nobody questions Aaron Rodgers' ability to play on the frozen tundra, and we'll talk about Tom Brady in the playoffs and Tom Brady versus Rodgers and Tom Brady in the cold and that weird dream I had about Tom Brady while I was in the shower. We're going to talk about all that. But moving on to the last divisional matchup, we've got the Bucs and the Saints. The Saints were 3-point favorites. Once again, I thought that was crazy. Everyone's betting against Tom Brady. Bucs win and cover, obviously, 30-20. We've already seen Phillip Rivers retire. This was not a good performance for Drew Brees. He threw 3 picks, didn't look effective down the field at all. Let's start with Harry. Is this the end of Drew Brees?
It's hard to say no, right? I think it's very possible that the competitor in him wants to be back for another season, and we'll see what comes of it. But if I'm the Saints, I am worried. I know I said earlier in the year that the Saints kind of owe him if he wants to keep playing. But the end of this season, they maybe owe him like a split with Winston or who's
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill, right? Because
I just don't buy that owe him stuff. How many hundreds of millions of dollars have they paid this guy?
This is
Come
true.
on.
I mean, it's tough because he threw for 134 yards and 3 interceptions.
They owe him a spot as a QB coach. If he wants to come back as a QB coach, fine. You can give him that. They don't owe him a spot as a starting quarterback in the NFL.
No one is owed that.
You can't owe anyone that. Yeah, you can't owe someone that. Like, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I'm bigger into hockey, so I know it. It's the same thing. The Devils did not owe Marty the starting goalie position when Schneider was clearly the better goalie. They owed him the front office position that he has right now, where he does nothing for the team except sit in a blank room and make draft picks.
And Enterprise cars. Okay, he drives those things everywhere.
That one doesn't involve the Devils.
All right, so back to the game. Let's talk the Bucs. A lot of interesting stuff going on here. My bet with Harry still alive, $100. Harry gave me 20-1. This was about 4 or 5 weeks ago. For the Bucs to win the Super Bowl. They're now down to the Final Four. I'm feeling pretty good. Harry, you want to buy out?
I do not want to buy out. I'm sticking with this baby
to the end. You're going
to
owe me $2,000. I'm going to give you a $500 buyout right now.
Don't want it.
Oh, man. Okay.
I think I'm going to take a buyout when he has to go through Rodgers and Mahomes or Allen to get there.
Would you give me 20-1 right now?
I would not give you 20-1 right now, obviously.
That's right. So you should buy it down to what's reasonable. But that's all right. I have lots of stuff I can do with you.
I'm sticking by it. I'm sticking by it.
All right. Go down with the ship. So the Bucs have been up and down, right? They've put up over 40 points a game in their last 6, but they haven't, they didn't look impressive against Washington. They didn't look super impressive against New Orleans. Jose, Bucs Saints. What are you thinking about the Bucs going forward?
I don't like the Bucs at all going forward because
I don't like you.
I mean, they put up they got 4 turnovers, put up points on all of them. The Packers are not turning the ball over 4 times. The only reason that Drew Brees looked so bad is because he can't throw the ball more than 10 yards, and the guy who runs slant routes should have had surgery. But Michael Thomas said he wanted to play through it for Drew Brees, but Michael Thomas didn't get a catch. Like, if Michael Thomas is healthy, I don't think the Bucs win this game even. So going forward, I don't see how they can beat the Packers.
Tell them, Spo.
All right.
Tell them.
Damn, that's harsh. All right. Well, so let's go to that game.
Well,
all right.
wait. I just want a final verdict on the Saints Bucks. Were you impressed by the Bucks?
No.
Okay, I just
Not
wanted to hear your
impressed.
final opinions. I didn't know if your
Not
bet
impressed.
had blinded you.
Nope. But I won again. All right. Bucks Packers NFC Championship game. Right now, the Packers are 3.5-point favorites at home, the friendly confines, the frozen tundra, all the other stuff that Chris Berman says. And in our notes, Harry wrote here, exact opposite of the AFC Championship game. Two legends facing off. Harry, you wanna elaborate on what you mean there?
Well, yeah, we have Mahomes and Allen, kind of like the two, not the two, but two of the biggest like up and coming faces, right? Not been in the league a crazy long time. They are the quarterbacks I think that are going to be the next level. Mahomes definitely.
Okay.
Allen's got to keep it
So-
up. The next level of the Rodgers, the Breeze, the Bradys, because they're not the ones putting their lives on the line, running the ball 84 times a weekend. They're going to be
So,
the ones that outlast everyone else.
Not the exact opposite. I feel like the exact opposite would be like Matt Leinart versus Matt Barkley. And you'd be like, oh, two quarterbacks who can't even step foot in the state of Ohio, much less Canton.
Maybe
This is
the
like-
other ends of the same spectrum. Let's say that.
There you go. No, they're not. Whatever. Yes, different game. Young quarterbacks versus old quarterbacks. Future Hall of Famers versus basically in the Hall of Fame. All right, I got that. So let's talk Brady Rodgers. I'm going to throw some stats at you, then I want to hear what you have to think. All right. Rodgers and Brady, 3-3 heads up matchups in their career. Brady is 2-1. One win with the Pats in 2006, one loss with the Pats in 2014, and their 38-10 drubbing of the Packers at Raymond James in Tampa this year. Brady's numbers and Rodgers' numbers pretty similar over those starts. Brady's thrown for about 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. Rodgers has thrown for about 787 with 4 touchdowns and 2 picks. None of these have been playoff games. So what are we thinking about? Does history play any role here? Joe, what does the 38-10 game inform your decision at all here, or is that just wiped out for you?
It doesn't at all. It was Rodgers' worst game of the season, and I was way more confident on the Packers probably about 5 minutes ago before you said what you said about your bet. Actually, you're like, no, the Bucks didn't convince me, but I won. And I feel like that sums up Tom Brady's career sometimes. Doesn't always look the best, but he wins. And now thinking of that scares me a lot. It reminds me of that Super Bowl against the Rams. Did they look good at all? No. Did they win? Yep. Is it another ring for Brady? Yep.
Did either of those
point,
teams look good?
How often can you attribute it to luck?
Oh, no. I'm not. But I'm saying to be that good, you need to be lucky sometimes. Like Brady has also looked phenomenal in some games. I'm not saying that he's had a 20-year career of all luck. I'm saying, though, I feel like Brady's career has a good mixture of him looking good and him having some times where he gets lucky. I feel like Brady, I don't even want to say lucky. He's just a winner. Like that's what he does.
He makes players around. Outside, forget Tampa Bay this year, and outside of Randy Moss, I want you to name me the 3 best wide receivers Tom Brady has ever thrown to in his 84-year career.
Okay, Wes Welker.
Okay.
After Wes Welker, it drops off. I'm not. I wasn't
Chad
trying to argue that he doesn't
Ochocinco.
keep better.
Like a bunch of other small white guys who Tom Brady turned into having a career, right? So I feel like he has never had the weapons that the all-time greats have had, right? Joe Montana had him, Steve Young had him, Peyton Manning had Marvin Harrison. Marino had what's his name? Dupree. Like this. Either way, the point is, your Buffalo Bills. What's his name? Andre Reed. Jim Kelly had. The point is, I think Tom Brady has done more with less than anyone in the history of the game, and he finally doesn't have less. But
no, but now he has less talent now.
But the stats on the other side are scary. Rodgers is 78-19-1 in his career at Lambeau. The Packers are 7-1 at home the past 2 seasons. I mean, Harry, what are your thoughts on this one?
It's kind of a battle of two like gut feelings, right? You have playoff Brady, but then you have Rodgers at Lambeau.
Okay, well, let's hold on real quick. Let's talk about playoff Brady, because just as we sort of exposed the sweeping a team 3 times in a season is hard myth last week, which turned out to be true when the Bucks won. The Brady in the playoffs thing is not as straightforward as you might think, right? So Brady and let's talk about cold weather, because that's what they're playing in, has been said that he's the best cold weather quarterback of all time, right? He's 13-2 in what are considered cold weather playoff games, which I think is freezing or below, right? However, this is a road game, all right? Brady is 4-4 career in road playoff games. He's thrown 10 picks to only 9 touchdowns. All right, not super impressive, because you got to remember, in New England, the Patriots were hosting most of the time. He's never played well in Denver. He's never played especially well in Indianapolis. He's been a playoff underdog 7 times in his career. This is the 8th. He's 4-3, both straight up and against the spread. Not super impressive when he wasn't expected to win. And this is the big one. Despite having the most wins in NFL playoff history, which is now at 31, Brady is 19-20. 19-20 against the spread in the playoffs over the course of his career. And the Bucks are only 9-8 against the spread over this entire season. So when you're talking about it from an odds maker's standpoint, it seems like Vegas has done a better job against Tom Brady than any defensive coordinator. So going into this game, do you look at his 13-2 career cold weather playoff record? Do you look at his 31 career wins? Or are you looking at his not great road playoff record? Are you looking at his record against the spread? What jumps out more to you, Joe?
What jumped out to me when you just said the against the spread thing, now going back to his time in New England, they were always, I don't want to say heavy favorites, but they were like the team to come out of the AFC normally. So I feel like he got the same treatment that Mahomes is getting now, where you're like, oh, the Chiefs aren't covering. Well, yeah, the Chiefs were just a 10-point favorite in a playoff game. Like it's like, I don't know the spreads off the top of my head for Brady, what they were, but it's probably similar to that, where it's like, oh, the Patriots in the playoffs, we can jack up the points because we know people are going to bet on them anyway.
Harry?
I'm looking more at the road playoff record. I didn't know that. I think people just don't look into it. They just accept the fact that Brady's Brady, especially in the playoffs. And I mean, he's had mixed success, so I think it's just going to be a really, really good game. I'm really excited to see Brady go through the boss fights of the NFC. First knocking out Drew Brees. Now he gets a shot at Aaron Rodgers, 2 of the all-time greats. And then if he wins, he's up against a young gun coming for his spot. So I'm excited for it.
So what do you guys pick? 3.5 points. What do you like?
I still like the Packers. Minus 3.5.
Harry?
I like the Packers and the over 51.5.
Okay. So I'm going to take the Bucks and the points. I might want to buy it up a little bit. I like that it's 3 in the hook rather than 3. That's part of what worries me in the Bills game. I might buy that up to 3.5. A little bit is some faith in Tom Brady that, based on those stats there, may not be terribly well founded. So we're going to find out, because, the question is Tom Brady still getting some of the Mahomes effect, where this should be a 6-point game, right? So It's definitely possible. But against Aaron Rodgers, it's not like he's starting against, Dwayne Haskins, right? So we'll see about this one. All right. The AFC Championship. Two original AFL and then AFC teams. Bills and the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Harry wishes that it were in Buffalo. First and second ranked in total offense this season. So we're looking for some scoring. The big question on everyone's mind is, will Patrick Mahomes clear concussion protocol? Will he play? What will he be like if he plays? In my mind, I don't see how he doesn't play. I think you have to assume he's going to. So if we assume he's going to, who do you like here? What do you think, Harry?
Well, I want to turn this back on you guys. So it's at -3 for the Chiefs right now. Is this taking into account that Mahomes is going to play? Is this taking into account that Mahomes isn't going to play? And how would this line move if there's a definite answer like Saturday night, Sunday morning, one way or another? What do you guys think? Like,
Okay,
if Mahomes is locked in, he's playing. Saturday night they say he's playing, he's our guy, we're going all the way. What happens to the line?
I think that this line is taking into account that there's an 80-90% chance that Mahomes plays. I think if Mahomes is definitely playing, the line will jump to like Chiefs -3.5, -4.5 in that range. But it's not going to move drastically because I think they're expecting Mahomes to play. I think if they rule Mahomes out, this line's going to change a lot, and the Bills are going to be favorites.
Well, so what about the running game? It's going to be Leonard Fournette. It's not going to be Edwards-Helaire.
You mean Le'Veon Bell?
Le'Veon Bell. Where does Leonard Fournette play?
The Bucks.
Right. So it'll be Leonard Fournette in another game. It'll be Le'Veon Bell, who, of course, had his long, illustrious Hall of Fame career with the New York Jets. Never played anywhere else. What do you like here? I mean, do you think this is an opportunity to get the Chiefs cheap, or is there a reason, you get what you pay for?
I think I like the Bills +3, and I might even like throw something on the Bills money line because I think that I just like the Bills in this game. Because even if Mahomes plays, there's no way, because he has an injured toe, there's no way they let him scramble as much as he does. There's no way that they want him to move around as much as he normally does because they don't want him to get hit in the head again. Because especially whether or not he clears concussion protocol, you're way more likely to get another concussion if you just had one. So there's no way that they're going to try and keep him in the pocket. The Chiefs, I mean, not the Bills. The Chiefs are going to try and keep him in the pocket, not let him move around. It's not going to be the same type of Mahomes. So while he still probably has the best arm in the league, like I'm not saying he can't do anything from the pocket. It's just going to be, you're going to lose that aspect of Mahomes.
Yeah, I think you bring up some good points. Against the Browns, Mahomes himself running picked up like, I think 3 or 4 third and longs, like over 10-yard longs. So if he's not able to do that, it's going to completely change the game plan. And Joe brought up another good point with the toe. People are just thinking about his neck/head. No one really knows what happened. But the second half, he came out, the toe didn't really feel better, it looked like, and he made some really inaccurate passes that you don't expect Mahomes to miss. So I think...
this then, rather than an opportunity to get the Chiefs cheap, is this do you wait until Mahomes is potentially confirmed and wait for the line to go up and take the Bills at 3.5 or 4?
I think that's a very good strategy. I might do that because I'm with you guys that I don't think there's a way that Mahomes doesn't play. So I do think this line shifts towards the Chiefs closer to game time. And I'm going to be riding the Bills wherever it settles.
This a little bit. You arbitrage the play. You take the Chiefs a little bit right now -3. If Mahomes doesn't, is ruled out, then all of a sudden that line is going to be Bills -3, and you've just gotten yourself. No, I'm sorry, the other way around. You take the
Bills
Chiefs,
now.
and if Mahomes does play and it goes up to 3.5, great. You can add on, and then if he's ruled out, you can take the Bills and sort of grab the other side.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I also just want to point out just how comical the NFL concussion protocol is and how the Chiefs are handling this. They said that it wasn't a concussion. Like one of the reporters, I don't want to say the Chiefs said this, but one of the reporters who covers the Chiefs was like, no, I don't think it was a concussion. It was more of a chokehold, and he just lost his consciousness. What? How do you have a chokehold where you lose consciousness for at most he was tackled for 3 seconds?
But also the hit, did it look like a concussion hit? Did his head even hit?
It didn't look like a concussion hit, but I think that first look, his head did hit the ground. Clearly, something it happened, right? So whatever it was managed to do it. It makes me wonder about that helmet. Patrick Mahomes always looks like his helmet is a size too small. It's like 2 inches up on his head. It looks like his parents bought him a helmet like when he was 14 and he's grown out of it now that he's 16 and they just don't want to buy him another helmet. Like it just I don't know. It's confusing to me. But look, we're gonna find out. I agree that I think he's gonna play. I think we'll see the line move a little bit. I think, Joe, you're right about that.
I mean, I think
Harry, who's your pick? You didn't.
I said the Bills.
Okay.
Bills +3 right now. See where the line moves. Maybe add on. But the thing I worry about with the Chiefs is both of these injuries. Whatever happened to his toe, a probable concussion. These are things that one hard sack is gonna bring up again. The Bills defense hasn't looked great, but they picked it up against the Ravens, and I don't know. It worries.
I mean,
that's what worries me on the Chiefs side.
Yeah, and all it takes is one hit. Like you can be a terrible defense and get one hit on the quarterback. Like so, the injuries scare me, and I don't think he'll be the same Mahomes. I think he'll still be better than 95% of starters in the NFL, but he won't be Mahomes.
All right. So we agree. We like the Bills.
Which means bet the Chiefs.
Last week we were very good.
We were very good last week. Yeah.
So, yes. All right. As you mentioned, this was our last Morpheus podcast. Harry's going to do his editing magic, and you're going to see our new handle come up on the screen. It's going to be our Twitter handle is going to be @betteroff_app. If not, he's just going to edit this part out so that you never hear it because he doesn't want to do
I'm going to keep it just because I want everyone to know just that I did not know he was going to tell me this and just threw on a bunch of editing work. So thank you.
To put @betteroff_app is going to take you a lot of time.
Okay, well, first I got to get rid of our current background that we have to get rid of all the Morpheus branding and then throw on branding we don't even have.
We have the same colors.
I'll do it.
@betteroff_app. And on the other one, Twitter and YouTube and all the places where Donald Trump's not allowed to play anymore.
And Twitch. Are we getting a Twitch channel going?
Twitch. I actually saw a meme about how Donald Trump is really upset about how he's going to have to start his civil war on Grindr.
All right, before we go though, speaking of memes, did you hear Colin Cowherd's quote? Did you hear what he said?
No.
Okay, I have it here. He says, "We want Mahomes against Josh Allen, right? That's reasonable. And I'm sitting here this morning thinking, if I'm the NFL, Patrick Mahomes is going through protocol. I find the day Patrick Mahomes can play, and that's when we play." He says the game should be delayed for Mahomes to come back fully.
No.
What? Wait. Well, so first of all, he's joking, but second of all, how's that a meme?
No, I'm saying it's so comical that it is a meme. He was not joking.
Yes, he is.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he's joking, but I don't think he's saying it seriously. I think he's saying it to try and get clicks.
Yeah, and I also don't particularly love Colin Cowherd.
Well, good thing he probably doesn't listen.
Well, I'm sure he does. I don't dislike Colin Cowherd. You should come on the show and put me in my place.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if he listens, why not have him on and he could argue his points.
All right. Well, look, so we're gonna skip the begging people for money segment because we've got a new name, we've got a new brand. We don't need no help from nobody, but it might come back.
I mean, you could say we're better off.
This is why we pay you the big bucks, Intern Joe.
El Interno Extraordinaire. Well played. You see that, Harry? You're bitching about having to use Adobe Photoshop, and Joe is coming up with fortune cookie wisdom off the freaking top of his head.
Wow, I'm worried for my job. I am. Wow.
God. All right.
I mean, I don't know what else we can say. That
was a lot. So we're gonna be back next week. We're gonna have Joe back on. We're gonna be twice. We're also gonna have Bob Stanley at Prop Holiday to talk about his props and his picks, although that'll be for the Super Bowl, so those won't come out for a couple of weeks. But we'll be rebranding. We'll be launching on Better Off. All good things come to those who wait. You guys have waited 10 episodes for us not to be Morpheus anymore. Well done by you. And Harry, Joe, anything else?
Does anyone know if we can bet on the video game Pro Bowl?
Video game Pro Bowl?
Yeah, because they're gonna have all the players from the Pro Bowl who make the Pro Bowl play Madden.
Oh yeah, so like esports Pro Bowl betting, absolutely. You can bet on any damn thing. We're actually gonna have a guy on in 2 weeks who's gonna talk about the best way to exploit pricing weaknesses in the CBA Chinese Basketball Association. I believe it's the Central League, of which Stephon Marbury is like their god, and I think Jimmer Fredette.
Oh, Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Buckets.
Yep, plays there.
For the Shanghai Sharks.
Yep. So we're all about content.
And we have a few props out for the Super Bowl. I'm just looking up. First of all, Alex, the Bucks are plus 400 now to win.
I like 20-1.
The least favorite, though.
I like 20-1.
And anyone can bet on heads or tails for the coin toss. How many songs the weekend plays. How many wardrobe changes the weekend has.
The over-under on length of the anthem.
I don't see it yet, but that's one I do like. It will be there. And will Bella Hadid be shown during the halftime show?
You never can tell. All right, we're cutting this over. Thanks to our guest, Intern Joe. He will be back. We'll all be back, but we'll have a better name, a different name, a new logo. It'll be fantastic. Until then, everyone, enjoy your AFC NFC Championship weekend. We'll talk to you next week. I'm Alex.
I'm Harry.
I'm Joe.
And we're out.